Mark my words, this conversation about how different brains are wired is going to be one of the most important ones you watch this year. And now you're got people online talking about mental health condition like they're cheat codes you can just switch on. But this is not how it works, and I want to actually break down how this research shows, because the real story is more interesting than just like lists. And here's the thing you need to understand before anything else, like every single one of these conditions come from the real difference of how brain is work. And every single one of them comes with a trade-off. So let's start off with the ADHD. So ADHD is located right over here. I would put it on be tired, but obviously it has its pros and cons, right? The core issue with ADHD is going to be dopamine regulation. So your brain kind of reward and motivation system does not respond to boring stuff. Low stakes tasks that way longer than neurotypical brain does. So this is why paying bills, it feels like climbing a mountain, but something new, urgent, or high stimulation get feels total attention. So this is where your hyperfocus comes from. Give someone an ADHD problem, for instance, that's actually interesting to them, and you get this insane depth of focus what a lot of people literally cannot access. I'm telling you, neurotypical, it is not accessible for them. This is the upside, but it's real, the measurable, the part of that we'll find in disproportionate number of entrepreneurs and founders who hate ADHD. Exactly, but here's the other side of the same coin, the blindness. Poor working memory, impulsivity, forgetting things for my tasks, struggling with a structure that does not feel urgent. It's the same writing production both. You don't get the hyper focus without parts that make daily structure hard. So this is kind of the match, the deal, right? So let's talk about the bipolar disorder. For some reason, I will put it right at the S tier because it is kind of my favorite. It is like my favorite disorder. I'm combining with autism. I would say and ADHD also, but the reason why did I put an ADHD right on that place, because of you're not going to be able to follow the system if you're not interested in. So you're not going to be you're not simply capable of putting the certain amount of time and effort on the thing you're not interested in. So that's what makes the sticking to the system quite hard for ADHD. So that's why they're kind of be like a little bit different. But we're talking about the bipolar disorder. The reason why I just I love it so much because you're gonna be I think I really like okay it is kind of my favorite because you're like once you're entering the flow state, you're actually you're in for like for fucking month or a week straight, so you're cannot untouched. During hypomanic episode, you got elevated mood and like more energy, rest and ideas, like less need for sleep and kind of creative output. It feels like almost superhuman. There are like really historical examples of intense creative output during these periods. Like the part is documented, but listen carefully here because this part is everybody skips. Yeah, but many is not like the free energies like borrowed from the depression episode. There's this like same instability that produced the creative burst and that produced the crash afterward, the depressive episode, which is like kind of huge, which is impaired judgment, risk taken, and etc. Also involved with like your finances. It is a serious by itself, so I do not like recommend it. Autism is also kind of one of my favorite one because of the structure, like the brain. First of all, your nervous system is going to be overstimulated with the outer like with the environment. And also I didn't know that you saw a picture, but I remember like the reason why autism just kind of develops in the early ages when the people like when the kid grows up, the synapses in his brain, like that unnecessary neural connection, they are supposed to die, right? It is just natural process that calls like tapping or trapping, I forgot. So the synapses need to cut himself off and just die, right? But in terms of autistic people, these kind of synapses do not like die. I found this kind of image right over here. So look, autism, ADHD people are and neurotypical. So as you can see, 200 synapse, 100 synapse, and 20 synapse. So the reason, like this is kind of exactly the reason why autistic people, they're kind of become more vulnerable to external stimuli, but they are having hard times with understanding like the signs of other people because it takes for them a little bit longer to figure out like, okay, the life with this amount of synapses, it's can be called just hard, I think. Okay, let's move on. So autism It is where things get more specific depending on the person, because autism shows up differently across the people. There is also no correlation between IQ and autism, right? But one thing that shows up often in research is enhanced pattern recognition and systemization. The brain is wired to notice details, structuring consistently at a level that a lot of typical brains do not normally do. This is part of why you see autistic individuals excel in fields and that reward precision, deep technical work, and sustained narrow focus, because like real strength and well documented, the trade-off, it is the social and sensory side. Difficulty reading like social cues that come automatically to other people, sensory environment that are overwhelming, like and loud rooms, bright lights, and expected change in our routine that the 1 hour already we're telling you about. It is just like hard. So let's move on to the next one, OCD. I like do not even prefer OCD. I don't love it. I would say I hate it. I'm the opposite person of OCD. I'm complete chaos, I would say. So that's how I would put it on F tier, because obviously I judge every single disease from my own perspective. I would say that OCD, it is my last favorite, because I would say I'm the complete opposite of OCD. So that's why, like, I'm complete chaos. So these are just traits. And I remember that OCD gets treated like the personally quirk online. Like, I'm so OCD about my desk thing, and this is not what the condition actually are. The real mechanism behind it involves a loop between certain brain region and struggle to shut off a signal telling you something is wrong or unfinished. In some cases, that translate into intense attention to detail and drive toward precision that can genuinely help in detail heavy work. But the actual disorder is intrusive and unwanted thoughts paired with the compulsions that brain person feels they are have to perform, and it causes real suffering, not just square tightness. Like it not a probably have. It is a condition that when it's severe, it needs real critical treatment, and reducing it like to the meme misses like with a what people think about the OCD actually. So the next one is going to be anxiety. I would say it is actually reverse. So I hate it. So I would also put it right over here. I will change it to F. So from a brain standpoint, anxiety is your threat detection system, which is runs on elevated baseline. This kind of system evolves to keep you alive, and the functional level of that can translate into strong preparation habits like high consciousness and catching risks what people miss. Like there's a research connecting moderate anxiety with a better performance on certain tasks up to point, but the path from that point, it becomes the opposite of useful, right? The chronic anxiety produces a real physical damage to the body because of elevated cortisol, disrupted sleep, I would say. So like you extreme vigilance, I mean, so that's why I hate it. So this is what I actually want to take all from this. None of these are like hacks or like, I think to succeed in life you need to okay, just I think the best mental disorders, personality disorders, or neurodivergence disorders that are closer to your success, I would say it's gonna